If you missed our introduction video or you tuned out because I was talking way too much, we thought we'd talk a little bit about our shipping containers, because when we took the video and the pictures of doing that, we hadn't quite decided to really film this stuff and put it out there. And so it was just for us, for, you know, seeing how far we've come, or posterity's sake. So it's like just quick time-lapse videos and the guy delivering the shipping containers, and we didn't really talk about it. So I just wanted to, you know, put a little bit out there about why we did it the way we did, and the size of the concrete that we poured, and why we did things kind of out of order. Because our plan was originally to level out our spot and then build a shop. And that's, I mean, that was the plan that we started with. When we borrowed the bulldozer, we thought we'd just level out a spot and start with our shop, and we quickly realized that we needed to level out the whole thing, because we had to go down a lot farther than we than we thought we did. We picked that clear spot, and it was like, I guess like 4 foot down on one side. You know, we kind of wanted to berm it, so 4 foot was a good distance. And my dad came up and he was like doing his eyeball level measure thing, and he was like, nah, like 6 foot is how far you're gonna have to go down. And I think Mike agreed with him. Yeah, it was 7.5 foot down in the end there. So that took a lot longer than expected. And if you borrow a 1960s track loader, bulldozer, or whatever you can get your hands on, make sure you can fix the dang thing, because we spent so much time and quite a bit of money putting fluids in there. It was, if we had to factor that into the cost of our excavation, it would have been hundreds of dollars. I mean, just in hydraulic fluid, it was, we were putting 4 quarts of oil in there, straight 30, or straight 30? Yeah,
30.
straight 30, which is more expensive than you think it should be. And we were putting 4 quarts in there every time we used it, and draining 4 quarts out of the transmission because the rear main seal was leaking. And then it was a gallon of hydraulic fluid every time we used it, and a gallon of antifreeze after our patch on the radiator didn't hold that good, because the day we borrowed it, it blew a hole in the radiator. So JB Weld did pretty good for about 3.5 months, and then it gave out too. So kudos to JB Weld for getting us halfway or 3/4 of the way through the job before it gave out and I couldn't JB Weld it anymore. So we just had to keep adding antifreeze for that last little bit. But it was probably $30 or $40 every time we used it worth of fluids. So that definitely factored in. The track came off once the day before we were going to borrow it, and then it almost came off again. So make sure you can work on that equipment if you are going to use that old stuff. But it is a huge amount of money that we saved being able to borrow it, because we couldn't have used it for that many hours. If we rented it or something, we would have gone broke trying to do our excavating. So either find a flatter spot than we did, or figure something out. We started measuring for the shop, and we realized that we didn't think that the shipping containers would, like, the truck could get in past the shop to put them where we wanted them after we got the shop up and built, or it would have been a really tight, like, backing. I'm sure they could have done it. Those guys were amazing when they got here, but we just wanted it to be a lot easier. So we went ahead and got those shipping containers and put them in. And so that cut into our budget for our shop quite a bit. They're not ridiculously expensive. I think we paid $3,000 each delivered for the containers, and then about $1,200 for the concrete. And so the concrete was kind of, I didn't expect it to be quite that much because we were doing the work ourselves, but I think that's what it ended up being. It's pretty high to get it delivered. And then boy, did they really mess that up they dumped out a huge amount of not wet concrete on the day that we did it, and it was over 100 degrees, and it was a struggle, but we got 2 fairly decent pads poured, and good enough for the containers to go on. You can't see them really anymore. We did them a little bit large, and so that you can, we put the plates in and he welded those down. But the pads were a little bit larger than the shipping containers. One of them was a lot longer, and they were both a little bit extra wide, which made it easier for them to drive the trailer up on there to set the containers, because they have to like drive it up and then pull it off. And if it was just as wide as the container, he wouldn't have had quite as easy of a time driving the trailer up there, but it would have still been doable. The second container that we did, the guy that delivered it with the flatbed, his battery went dead. And so then we had to hook the truck up so that he could dump the container off, because his trailer battery went dead in the middle of the job. So we were kind of stuck out here, but we got that taken care of, and they both sat down pretty close to where they needed to be. The second one we had to move back a little bit, and you'll see that.
Yeah, pretty incredible what some Harbor Freight barn jacks can do.
Yeah, that Harbor Freight jack was it wildly outperformed my expectations. That's pretty impressive, that it lifted that whole container like it did and enabled us to use the concrete little rebar stakes to go ahead and push that container back, because we tried it every other way before we did it that way, and it was not moving on that rough concrete. The first one moved real easy, but that second one, it didn't want to.
But once you had some rollers under it, though, it moved no problem. That definitely was the best solution. So
yeah, rolling it back, we could do that again pretty easy if we needed to move it again. Just had to jack up that one corner, and the whole thing lifted pretty even and slid straight back. So then you got them welded together, and we got a little bit of paint on the front side of them, so they look pretty good. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what we did and why we did it and how much it cost.
Your horror story about the permit.
Oh, we didn't know you had to have a permit for shipping containers, and so we got that a little late, but we got it. It's fine. You do, if you make the concrete pad bigger than the shipping containers, you have to pay on the permit for the area of the concrete pad, not just the area of the shipping containers. But since they're welded together, they did end up being just one structure instead of 2. So if they were 2 structures where we live here, they would have had to been 10 feet apart. So we would have been, in kind of a bad spot, because we already did have them welded down to the concrete. But no, we got it taken care of. It was okay. So we did get our permits for those, and got them all where we wanted them, and then we had to remeasure for the shop. So that's about where we're at. Let's see how it goes. I did forget to add that after we got the concrete poured for the containers, water was really building up back there, and so we had to add a trench in before we could set that second container, because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get the backhoe back there once we got that second container in. So we did have that trench laid in, and then we put the drain pipe in later. gravel guy is the one guy who will not drive up our driveway. So I have to carry every load of gravel from the 11-ton pile or whatever we had at the bottom there. Every scoop comes up by tractor because the gravel guy won't drive up the driveway. Everybody else drives up the driveway. The shipping container guy, the truss guy, everybody will drive up the driveway, not the gravel guy. So I think it's time to find a new gravel guy. Our first attempt here at moving the second container back with the tractor. I didn't think it was really going to work too well. We had some wood stacked up under the first one before they set it all the way down, and that let us push that container back with only one point of contact in the back, and then we were able to lift it a little and get that wood out. On this one, we didn't have that wood put under there. I don't know why we didn't do it, but we didn't. So we were trying to bump it back with the tractor, just hoping that it would slide on that concrete a little bit. But it didn't move. Mike thought I was just doing it wrong, but it didn't move for him either. And so then we moved on to trying the truck a little, but eventually we just had to move on to bigger and better measures. The tractor and the truck moved the shipping container about an inch. Yeah, about an inch. So we're gonna have to try something else. I think he's gonna jack it up. We'll see if that works. Yeah, that looks a little sketchy. Peaches, back off.
I might need you to do me a favor though.
I might do you a favor.
I might need you to actually put the lift, the tractor in lift while I'm jacking, because this jack's not at its limit.
Okay, so you got your hillbilly furniture movers.
If we had those plastic ones, I've seen them I've seen on TV. They slide a refrigerator across the house. No problem.
I think it's the same thing. How far back can you go with those right now?
I can't, not very much. I'm not very high. I can try, but I'm afraid I'm going to break the end of this thing off if I don't have some help.
Oh, with the tractor. Okay.
Waiting for an accident to happen, aren't you?
Put your safeties on. I just want proof for the insurance company.
What I did for myself? Corner.
Yeah. All right, where am I at? That's really scary.
How many more we got?
I don't know. We need some for the other side, huh?
Yeah, this will be worse than over here. Alright, I guess I'll set this side back down.
Oh, I think that you can put those under the other side just like it is. Yeah, it's up. Because I don't think you're going to be able to jack this side. Because you're never stressed enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're never stressed enough. And it leaves all the stress for me.
Oh, that's how it works.
Uh-huh. That's how it works.
That's how it works. I don't think it works that way.
Sure does.
Who's